printed and what is about to be printed. Some have posed the question to the Commission since this information broke out on Friday night, that why would you reprint all the ballots when it's only a single defaced, ballot paper that was taken out of the printing house? And the question that we have posed is, as a Commission, our avowed intention is to ensure and guarantee the integrity of the 2024 election. And therefore, although it was a single paper that was taken out of, a single ballot paper that was taken out of the printing house, it was important that we recall the ballots for the Eastern region, and we have agreed that we add on the Western region to ensure the integrity of the elections. And it is for that reason that we raised and escalated this matter and raised it above board and have invited the political parties here this afternoon to discuss the issue and to inform them about the Commission's decisions. Thankfully, as we mentioned, there has been consensus around the issue of recall and reprint, and we have all agreed that ballots for the Eastern region and the Western region should be reprinted. We'd like to call on the citizens of Ghana to support the EC in its bid to guarantee the integrity of the elections, not just in the Eastern region, but in the Western region and the country as a whole. It has not been an easy decision to recall a ballot simply because a defaced ballot paper has been taken out of the printing press. It has not been an easy decision to arrive at. But as a Commission that is keen and committed to ensure the integrity of all our processes, from the registration all the way through to the election and the declaration, we are of the view that this is important, that in spite of the fact that it was one ballot paper taken out, it is important that we call for a reprint to guarantee and ensure the integrity of the elections. And we call on the citizens of Ghana to support us in our effort to guarantee the integrity of the election. The Commission will engage 3 media houses in the light of the limited time, three printing houses in the light of the limited time to print the ballots for the 2 regions. And they are the Arts, Commercials, Back Press, and InnoLink. Information will be provided, of course, to the political parties, but I think the decision has been taken for Back Press to print ballots from the Western region, and Arts, Commercials, and InnoLink would print the ballots from the Eastern region. I think it will be divided based on presidential and parliamentary amongst the 2 printing houses. We have had informal discussions with the security agencies, and they have already pledged their commitment to protect and heighten the security around the reprinting of the ballots. Additionally, our parties have also informed us that they would also heighten security around the reprinting of the ballots. But we would like to ensure you that, as earlier stated, that to ensure the integrity of the ballots, there would be new features added onto the ballots, and the serial numbers would also be revised to ensure a marked difference between what has already been printed and what is about to be printed. In the light of the above, the special voting for the Eastern region and the Western regions would not take place tomorrow, Monday, the 2nd of December, as planned. The special voting for the 2 regions would now take place on Thursday, the 5th of December. As we all know, the special voting brings together persons and personnel who will be operating and undertaking duties on election day. And those agencies include the security agencies as well as media personnel and the Electoral Commission's own staff. And so right after this meeting, a formal notice would be put out to these constituencies to inform them that their special voting, especially those in the eastern, particularly those in the eastern region and in the western region, to inform them that their special voting will take place on Thursday, the 5th of December, 2024. We ask the special voters in these two regions to bear with us. Our sole objective as a commission is to ensure the integrity of the election in both regions. And one defaced ballot paper that has been taken out of, the printing house does not stop us from conducting and ensuring that our values and our principles of ensuring integrity in the elections stand. Once again, we call on the support of all the citizens, well-meaning citizens, to work with us to ensure the integrity of the 2024 election. We thank the political parties for the consensus, the political parties and the agents of the presidential candidates for the consensus arrived at. I think we've operated in a very open discussion. I think there's confidence around the table that this approach of recalling and reprinting will go a long way to ensure the integrity of the election. And so we would like to thank all the political parties and the agents of the presidential candidates of their support and their help in working with us to arrive at this decision. So I think that we'd like to thank all of you, our media partners, for being here at short notice. We have a short statement that will be sent out in due course, but this is what it is. We'll move on very quickly to get the printing going, and we'll inform the parties in writing to enable them assemble their agents to supervise and observe the conduct of the printing. Thank you very much.
Maybe when they finish. And so the Electoral Commission has just announced that there would be reprinting of ballot papers for the eastern and western regions, and that will most definitely, as we heard the Commissioner also announce, affect the special voting, which is expected to take place tomorrow. For now, though, the political parties have been asked to continue to stay, expecting some conversations, and then we can put questions forth to the reps of the respective political parties who are here, but that's the latest from the quarters of the Electoral Commission in this emergency press conference which has just been held. And for now, all media persons have been ushered out, awaiting what now is the expectation to be an IPAC meeting. And so if we could just run you by really what the Electoral Commission Chair, Madam Jean Mensah, has been saying in this hurriedly convened press conference, is that there's been one defaced ballot paper at the printing house which was taking care of the presidential ballot papers for the Eastern region. Now, that ballot paper which was defaced was originally intended to head towards the Eastern region, but it was taken out and was not going to be a part of the contingent which made its way to the Eastern region. But for some strange reason, they were informed by the National Investigation Bureau that that defaced ballot paper had made its way out of the printing house. And if you heard her, she said that it wasn't an easy decision arriving at the fact that they would decide to reprint the ballot papers for the Eastern region. The Western region has been included because this printing house is responsible, or was responsible as well, for printing the ballot papers for the presidential of the Western region as well. And so it has forced them to immediately recall the ballot papers. We'll seek to get a bit more from the political party reps just shortly, but also in terms of what we know is from what the Electoral Commissioner has been telling us is that there will be additional security features to these new presidential ballot papers meant for the Eastern and the Western region. They will not be of the same characteristic, but will have special security features which will differentiate them from that which exists already. And she mentions as well that this decision has been taken via the consensus of the political parties who were present today, and then the agent of the presidential candidate as well, reason for which the special voting which will take place tomorrow, the Western region and then the Eastern region will not be a part. They will have, or they will take their turn on Thursday where they can't get the opportunity to be able to vote. The printing of the ballot papers is going to begin this evening with the help and guidance of the respective political parties who are present, and then the National Investigation Bureau, which continues to provide security all through throughout this process. And that really is the summation of what we've seen. But let's try and get Dr. Omane Boama. He is the Director of Elections for the NDC. Doc, we've just heard the address from the Commissioner of the Electoral Commission. Says there's a buy-in from the political parties, but your reaction to what we've just been hearing this afternoon?
Yes, quite unfortunate that this would happen with 6 days and few hours to the elections. But prevention is better than cure. And so we've thoroughly discussed the matter, and it is very clear that the only way out is to condemn all the ballot papers that were printed by Checkpoint, burn them to give way for other print houses to reprint both the presidential and the parliamentary. Even though this aberration occurred in the Eastern region, and we are being told it's only one ballot paper, cancer cells can sometimes generate from just one cell. So this one ballot could be a symptom of an underlying festering ulcer. What was the intention? Was the culprit or the perpetrators intending to study the security features on the ballot so they could replicate? Because for us, at our end, we are still tracking information about some 2.5 million ballot papers that are being printed clandestinely, not by the Electoral Commission, but by a particular political party. So, if a ballot had been found in this manner, could it be that people wanted it to study the features so they could replicate? This is why we wholeheartedly endorse the banning of the Eastern and the Western region ballot papers, one, reprinting by different printing houses, not the same printing house, checkpoint. And in fact, as I said in the meeting, in 2008, I was supervising printing of ballot papers, and we had an issue with checkpoint as a party. History is just repeating itself. What is sad is the fact that security personnel, media, EC permanent and temporary staff who have made arrangements to vote tomorrow would have to reconfigure their plans. This is because some of them may have to travel to far-off places in order to vote. They would have to change their plans. And in this case, they are going to be voting on Thursday. That is for Eastern and for Western region. We hope and pray that the necessary support systems will be put in place for the security personnel, for the media, and for the EC permanent and temporary staff to be able to participate in this exercise. However, let me state here that it is sad that we cannot be told whether the corporates, either a corporate or corporates, have been arrested or not. And the national security, the Bureau of National Investigation, the CID, all the investigative bodies must step forward and let us know who are the perpetrators. The EC has done its job. The security apparatus must disclose. We demand full disclosure. We demand sunlight on this. We demand that the security apparatus pours chlorine on this so that we will know who the perpetrators are. To date, we have an unresolved issue of biometric voter registration devices that is unresolved. There are lessons to learn from it. We are a few days into an election. The security apparatus must name if they have arrested any of the culprits. But like I said, we are still tracking an intel that we received that a particular political party is printing about 2.5 million ballot papers aimed at staffing.
Which political party is this? Where is the intel coming from?
I chose not to mention the name of the political party. We are not going to disclose the source of our intel. We've been keeping this for almost 7 months now. At a point, that party was torn between to do or not to do. Eventually, they decided to go ahead.
Have you reported to the police?
We are not going to. We are tracking it at the right time. When the necessary arrests are effected, we will hand over the culprits. We hope this serves a lesson that they will halt it. But we are tracking. We are tracking. We are tracking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Dr. Omane Boama, who is the Director of Elections. Let's speak to Mr. Nimako as well. He as well has been here and also sat through the meeting. Your perspective as well as a governing New Patriotic Party, we get the indication that all political parties agreed to these solutions as proffered by the Electoral Commission.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think for us as New Patriotic Party, we've always been on the table with other stakeholders to ensure that we will have programs that will give us a peaceful elections, meaning that at any stage of the process, we have to be on the same page. And this afternoon's decision by the Electoral Commission is a very difficult one. And that goes to say that democracy is expensive. One ballot paper that slipped and has been found and reported by the national security is calling for the reprint of all ballots in Eastern and Western region. It's a very expensive exercise. We would have disagreed because at any point in time, there are agents of political parties. The EC officials are at post, as well as the printing house, staff and all that. But here we are, the devil has managed to put us on this track. So we are on board to ensure that we will have a peaceful and successful program, which means that at any point in time, the parties must be on the same page to ensure that we have level playing field. If that will mean that let's find time, let's find resources to print ballot for Western and Eastern, so be it. We will only appeal to those who were supposed to be voting tomorrow, our media partners, the security officials, some of whom have already left to their stations to exercise their franchise, as well as the EC staff. But as we said, it may be expensive, but it will be the better route for all of us. All that we are calling for is that those houses which have been selected now to print for these regions must ensure that they go through the exercise fairly, going by the rules of the game, and urge the security to up their game. I think that in the course of distribution of the ballots, for instance, in Eastern region, we saw a video going around that seals have been broken, and really coming from NDC, they will not accept it. It ended up that the ballot in the bag was intact. So some of the things can be addressed without raising some issues that will end up not giving us any basis. So we can all help calm down tension. At the end of the day, the police said they've resolved it, and everything was intact. We heard of issue coming from Volta region. Ballots from Volta region were printed at Art Commercial. Agents available escorted ballots from Accra to Volta region, checked. Records from my agent indicated that from the ballot statistics up to the printing to the dispatch, all were right. Issue of miscommunication. But when you take your time and you visit the data, you realize that people are just trying to raise tension, needless. So we will call on each one of us as stakeholders. Let's go by the rules of the game. I have had my presidential candidate signing to the peace pact and made a profound statement and call on the media, call on the EC, call on the security, leadership of his party, that he stand by peace, because peace is possible. And so for us, we will not do anything before, during, and after this exercise, but to have one Ghana. A situation where I'll plead with the media not to entertain people come to allegation, just to be heard. And in one meetings we held here at the EC office, we were told, you need to find time to appreciate the electoral rules of the game. So you help your leadership to get things done right. There have been times that NDC have raised issues about ballot papers. There have been times they raised issues about the register. At the end of the day, a critical look at all this will show that their issues raised had no basis. They will end up raising tension. Ghana is at peace. And so you urge the media, at a point in time, you should black out those people.
Just briefly on expectations of the police to be able to identify the individual who picked up this defaced ballot paper.
Well, I said earlier that we urge the security to up their game to ensure that those involved will be made to face the law. I think that this is a heavy decision, and because of that singular act of those people, you've had to put people who have made arrangement to cast their votes, to change their arrangement again. You've had to go through this exercise again, time and resources, because of a certain slip that allows somebody to pick a ballot. So there must be full investigation into this, and anybody with information should assist the police to get to the crunch of it, the bottom of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Evans Nimako also speaking to us, the chair of the PNC. Just briefly, you've also sat through just briefly on what's transpired, and then your thoughts as well.
Well, I strongly believe that the meeting today was very fruitful. It has never happened that after a meeting, all of us would sign to agree that the EC should go ahead to print the new ballot papers for the Eastern region and Western region. Remember that the EC said that the same company that printed for these regions, and so they have changed 3 companies. One will print for the Western, and then 2 will print for the Eastern. And I think along the line, the commissioner made it us to understand that maybe these 2 companies that will print for the Eastern region, one will print for the presidential, and then one will print for the parliamentary. I think that we as political party have to support the EC in terms of this difficult this time, and as those who, our security agencies who have also traveled, not only security agencies, including those special voting people who have traveled to go and cast their vote tomorrow, will now be given the opportunity to vote on coming Thursday on the 5th of December. And I think that this is the only way that we have seen that this year alone, this election alone, I think that we need to really appreciate the work of the EC. They've been up and down, and all the time they call us at critical hours. Just today is Sunday, we have to come because of this issue. Yes, it was one faded ballot paper that was taken, but for integrity, for transparency, I think we at PNC really support that they should reprint these ballot papers for transparency. You know, the election, the stake is very high, and so NDC want to win overwhelmingly. And so, whilst NDC want to win overwhelmingly, we strongly believe that the printing of the ballot papers will give confidence to all of us. At the end of the day, when the election is being declared, we know that they win without anything. And then, of course, to those who have printed that they are tracking, I mean, we don't want to see any illegal ballot paper comes on December 7th. We want what EC will put out there. Let us go through, and whoever will win, at the end of the day, there will be transparency. For we at PNC, we know that we are out there to support the NDC, and I think the NDC have really called for this, and the EC commissioner and the deputy have accepted it is true. They will have to reprint. In fact, the EC even draw our attention that they have also, the national security have written to them. And so they want us to, all of us to come and discuss, and collectively all the political party, majority consensus, build that there's a need for the EC to go ahead to print it. And we need to support, and we need to appreciate the work that the EC, the chairperson and the deputies are doing.
Thank you. And so that pretty much sums up everything that's transpired here. We can return to the studio, and then we'll wrap up for today. But that's essentially it. Special voting for the Western and Eastern region has been postponed. Will come off on Thursday because of the challenge with the ballot papers, a presidential ballot paper, one ballot paper defaced at Checkpoint Printing House, which has resulted in what all the parties say has been a difficult decision, but one that must be taken nonetheless to ensure transparency throughout the entire process. Mawana Egbeta, from the headquarters of the Electoral Commission, back to you in the studio.